against Waterloo West. These are two teams that are licking their chops for each other, so that'll be a dandy too. All sorts of good football here.
Let's take a look at some of that first half action. First of all, we're going to take a look at Pocahontas, which did indeed take a 7-0 lead. This is Dave Widener, quarterback, rolling out for the score.
Widener rolling out. I think he wanted to pass on this play. You can see he's looking in the end zone for a receiver. Instead, dodges a tackle, decides to tuck it under, and says, hey, I can take this thing on into the end zone myself. By golly, that's what he did. Point made it 7-0.
Here's the touchdown that got Center Point back in it. Greg Dufo to Kenny Jones.
This came from 37 yards out on a 1st and 10 play from the 37. Of course, Pocahontas didn't think they'd throw the ball at that point. They did, and that was the result.
Boy, and I'll tell you, that's rare in hen's teeth to see Center Point go to the aerial lanes, but I got a hunch both these teams are going to try to, well, they'll go with the fool game. They're going to try to stump somebody. 7-6 is the halftime count. We'll be back with half number 2 right after this.
I'm Morgan Halgren. This week on Take One, we'll explore some of the practical and psychological problems of raising twins. We'll also learn of a charitable home that helps ex-convicts get back on their feet and into society, and dig into some of Iowa's archaeological treasures. Watch Take One, Sunday night at 7:30. He came to Waterloo from Mississippi in 1948, looking for the promised land, but was disappointed in what he found. Meet Jimmy Porter, a man who has committed himself to improving the quality of life for blacks in Waterloo.
I don't give a damn how far we go one way or the other. We always come back and say, you got to feed hungry people.
Watch All Roads Lead to Jimmy Porter, Thursday night, November 15th at 7 p.m.
I'd like to see.
You're watching Iowa Public Television.
At the half, it's Pocahontas by a point, 7-6 over Center Point. Center Point coach Ted Rogers stopping by for a moment. And, Coach, first of all, we know that Pocahontas does not give up a lot of points. What are you going to have to do to get some more in the second half?
Well, I think basically what we have been doing, we haven't executed all that well. They're a very good team. They're making it tough, which we knew it would be. If we had a little better quick pitch there, I think we'd be leading, but we didn't get the pitch out there very well. But we're going to have to keep doing. We're going to probably have to mix up the pass and the run. They're pretty physical, so just basically keep doing what we've been doing all year long, mix the pass up in there and try to catch them every once in a while.
Your decision to go for the 2-point conversion, that's something you've done all year, isn't it?
Yes, we do that all the time. I'm not going to, if I'm going to get beat 7-6, I'm going to know I tried.
Ted, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Ted Rogers, the coach of Center Point, his club down by a point, 7-6 at the half. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, thanks again, Larry, and thank you, Ted Rogers. And we'll have the meeting at the 50-yard line to get this one under again. Directing traffic out there is Everett Williams from Sioux City. He is the referee in this one. And we'll take a look at those halftime statistics and some numbers that aren't at all that surprising. Total yards, Center Point with 109.95 for the Pocahontas Indians. 5-5 in first downs. In rushing, it's pretty much even. The edge in passing goes to Center Point, and that is the big surprise, Pat.
Big surprise, of course, the 37 yards. That was all on one particular pass that went for that touchdown. So that might be just a bit misleading. 109-95. You couldn't get much closer. Good football game. And I'll tell you what, I've spent some time with Ted Rogers. He is a very interesting fella. His philosophy on football is to keep it as simple as you possibly can and make adjustments where they are needed. He told us right there down with Larry Morgan that they are going to mix it up in the second half. We'll probably see more passing. He does like to wait and throw the other team off guard. Perhaps it'll happen in the second half. Perhaps Pocahontas has learned a lesson in the first half.
Well, hello to Lisa and hello to the second half. Center Point fans saying hello to their buddy Lisa. And you see the Pocahontas coach, Dwayne Marcellus, his son Jeff, of course, works the point in that wishbone. Pair of wishbone teams in here. Pair of defensive teams as well. 7-0 was the lead. Pocahontas. Center Point came back to get the touchdown in the board, but the 2-point attempt came up shy. Teeing it up now for Center Point to open up the second half. You are taking a look at Brad Hanover. Deep to receive for the Pocahontas Indians. We'll have the sophomore Scott Bailey, who will be at the top of your screen, and at the bottom of your screen, is Mike Slattery. Slattery is 15, and Bailey is 33. So we're just about halfway there.
They might want to keep that football away from Slattery on the kickoff. This fella can run like a bolt of lightning. In fact, he was finished third in the state 100 meters last year. So the fella can run with a football. They might kick away from him.
Hanover raises the arm. He gets the whistle, and from the 40-yard line, this one is underway. Half number 2. It'll come up short at the 18-yard line. That is Bailey. Past the 30. And he's thundered down there. It'll be first and 10. So Pocahontas gets good field position to open half number 2. They'll be spotting the ball just past the 35. And we'll tell you again that Pocahontas has the lead in this one, 7-6, a pair of unbeaten teams. Widener, Point, Marcellus, Bailey, Slattery, and Hohensee. Powers, Schott, Weatherwax, Makovitz, and Porter are in the trenches. First and 10. First man through is Wayne Point. He is dragged down from behind to the line of scrimmage, but no further, perhaps a loss of a half yard.
I tell you, the Center Point fans are going to be behind their team this year. Well, they have been all year. Let's take a look at the defensive line here.
Lewis, Wade, Grenier, and O'Brien on the front four. Franks and Comrie, Wall, and Hackert are your linebackers, and in the backfield, Jones, Andrews, and Dufo. Just underway in the second half. A loss of a half yard, second, and about 10 and a half. Yep, the sophomore Scott Bailey threads his way past the 40 to the 43-yard line. Short of the first down, but that guy tiptoed his way, the young sophomore, before he's brought down by Dudley Grenier.
Well, Bailey had 47 yards to lead all rushers in the first half alone. He's been skipping all over that carpet down there. And Dwayne Marcellus has to be happy and content in the thought that Mr. Bailey is going to be back a couple more years.
Third and 3 to 43. Wayne Point stopped right at the 45-yard line and short of the first down.
Kenny Jones, the cornerback, came up to help out on that play, Michael. He, of course, read the play very well. They expected the run. That's exactly what they got. They go right up the middle with Point. There's Jones sticking ahead in there and making the nice tackle. Got a little help from some teammates.
You can bet that Wayne Point's face mask is humming right about now as he met head-on with Kenny Rogers. Dwayne Marcellus on the sideline. It is 4th and 1. And the Pocahontas fans are on their feet. First down and in. A lot of red and white on our side of the field here, Pat Clark. All of Pocahontas and then some are here.
I wonder who they got mine in the store back there.
Yeah, they're dancing in the streets in Schleswig tonight after the 13-0 victory over Lone Tree in the A-ball game, the championship game, which opened our coverage this afternoon on Iowa Public Television. This is the 1A title game, and there's your score, 7-6. Pocahontas with the ball in the lead. It is first and 10 to 47. The sophomore Bailey can't turn the corner. And you know, I'm just terribly impressed with Center Point's defensive effort and with Pocahontas. There's no such thing as a one-man tackle. It's half the team or more.
Absolutely. Jeff Lewis made the initial hit there and waited for some help. They were right there, and they dragged Bailey down. I started to mention, let me complete my thought from about 5 minutes ago. Goodness gracious, didn't think I could do that. The Center Point fans have really followed their team. Of course, they have been playoff contenders for some time, this being their 5th trip to the playoffs. They had never made it past the first round until this year. They have a brand new football field in Center Point. Very proud of their football team out there.
Second and 11. From the wishbone, and that was Wayne Point who picks up a couple before he's brought down by Mark Duro. And the hitting is hard out there without a doubt. Defensive alignment, you see number 35 for Center Point. That's Brad Wade. He's been in on his share of tackles thus far in this one. The line of scrimmage will be the 47-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 10, and I'll bet you a root beer right now that we might be seeing Pocahontas go to the air. Yard line. The gain is 15 yards, and it's going to be close to the first down. Scotty Andrews drills about.
Looking back for the football, and it was waiting for him as soon as he spun around. Does he have enough for the first down? Yes, he does. Pocahontas moving the football now effectively.
By inches. And the completion puts it in center point territory, and we're marking it down at the 43-yard line. Good shot of Dwayne Marcellus. Been at Pocahontas for 15 years. That's his son, Jeff Marcellus, who crawls past the 40 and down to the 36-yard line.
Jeff Marcellus, as we mentioned, had an injury early on in the playoffs. He rushed for 559 yards during the regular season, 5.4 average per carry. I'm sure that any coach would be happy to take that. Hurt an ankle. He also plays linebacker, does some kicking, kind of the all-around man for his pop.
The pickup is 6.5 yards. We'll call it second and a long 3. You see the line of scrimmage at the 36. Wide to the right is Slattery. Throw set formation. Nope, it's going to be the wishbone formation. Wayne Point inside the 35, so they're picking it up in little numbers right now. Pocahontas is. Brad Wade
tried to do the misdirection off of the wishbone here. Fakes one way. Here comes Point the other, and it was read perfectly by center Point. Great tackle there by Mr. Wade.
Point took him a couple extra yards and puts it down on top of the 35-yard line. The pickup is about 1.5 yards. So it'll be 3rd and 2. 7 minutes even remaining in third quarter play. Wishbone again. The sophomore Bailey gets the first down inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. Whoa, the youngster was moving.
I'll tell you, the kid's really impressing me. Give him a hole, and he'll slide right through it. Here he comes. Kenny Jones is going to come up and just about take his head off there. That does slow him down and finally stop him, but not after a nice gain and another Pocahontas Indian first down.
As mentioned, Jones with the stop. The 13-yard gain makes it 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line. Wide to the left, Slattery. Marcellus, first man through to the 15-yard line. The pickup is 7. And it's those bread and butter plays off the wishbone that's doing it now for Pocahontas. Marty Frankson makes the stop.
Tell you, this is something new for the Center Point football team. They are not used to giving up points. Let me just throw these numbers at you. During the regular season, they scored 450 points. They gave up just 52.
Wishbone again. That's Marcellus on the point. Behind him, Bailey and Point. Marcellus gets the call up the middle across the line of scrimmage. 2nd and a long 2. He did not get the first down. And I think the point to be made here is that the coach's son, Jeff Marcellus, was less than 100%. There was some question if he would start, but he did indeed start. And that's not an easy position to play from the point of the wishbone. He's taken his knocks in this one.
I would have liked to have been there when Marcellus said to his son, well, we're not going to be able to play you this afternoon, fella.
Double tight end formation, 3rd and a long 1. Wayne Point. Touchdown, Pocahontas.
Well, here's Mr. Point going the other way. Nice run off the left side. Look at that hole they opened up for him. Almost lost his footing, regained his balance, managed to plow his way into the end zone. Another 6 points on the board for the Tribe.
Pokey is number 1 from the sideline right below us. The extra point attempt. Marcellus, nope, going for 2. Widener rolling out. Got his man, Slattery. Take a look at the touchdown first, and then we'll see off the attempted point after on the kick. We will see the 2-pointer. First of all, we'll take a look at Wayne Point over the left side.
Here comes Point out of the wishbone. Nice ISO there. He almost trips, regains his balance, gets a few good blocks downfield, and falls on into the end zone for 6 points. They were going to kick. They lined up to kick the extra point, and by golly, Mr. Whitener, who's the holder, decided we're not going to do that. He takes it out to the right side, finds his man Slattery deep in the end zone. He had a little Velcro on his hands there, obviously. The ball just stuck, and the 2-point conversion makes it 15-6.
And so with 5. We're going to tell you with 5:16 remaining, that makes it a 9-point spread. It is Pocahontas 15 and Center Point 6. And our good friend Momentum.
Ah, yes, Mo.
You've heard of him.
I spent a week with him one night.
Yes. Deep to receive, that's Wall to your right. Chris Wall, number 89, and to your left, Kenny Jones, number 30. And this is Jeff Marcellus to tee it up at the 40. The short man will take it, and that's Comrie at the 30 to the 35. Knuckleball delivery, but Comrie was there, and Wayne Point, who you've heard about, I'm sure, does make the stop. You know, the nightly business report is being preempted tonight, so Iowa Public Television can bring you the Class 1A high school football championship game between Pocahontas and Center Point. The 4A game between Waterloo West and Sioux City East follows tonight at 8 p.m. First and 10, the first man through Comrie. The line of scrimmage was the 36. And he brings it out to about the 40-yard line. We'll call it, nope, it's going to be about the 39. Pickup of 3, 2nd and 7.
Well, we can expect, Michael, for the Pointers to start throwing the ball a little more. Ted Rogers told us just before the beginning of the second half we're going to have to mix it up a little more than what he probably wants to do. Kenny Jones hasn't been doing that great on the ground, and Dufo has a great arm and a couple of pretty good receivers.
That's Jones out to the 45-yard line, short of the first down by a yard or so.
Kenny Jones, just a junior. Interesting note, a school as small as that and great athletic talent that is displayed by Jones. He didn't earn a letter for Center Point last year.
Couldn't cut the mustard, right? 4:05 remains in the third. 3rd and a yard. That's Wall for the first down and a bit more. They'll come out to the 48-yard line. The pickup is 4 yards, and Rod Schott makes the stop on him. First down, Center Point.
You know, you've seen just about every type of Iowa Hawkeye paraphernalia, you know, whether it be scarves or sweaters or even toilet seats. Up in Center Point, they've got that kind of fever, too. They have a Point Inn, which is a motel, a Point Lounge. Everything named after the Pointers.
You get the point. Sorry about that. First and 10. Kenny Jones. No place to go, and look at those red jerseys all over the ball. Well, he ran out of running room.
Kenny had to swallow the skin. He needed about 50 more yards to the near side. Here he comes. He'll get the handoff. Well, Mr. Dufo looked to go inside, didn't find anything there, so obviously he had to try to take it outside and found out there that, well, things weren't so peachy either.
John Pollard finally makes the stop on him. Well, we'll check those individual stats on Pollard. He has enough for a season right now. 2nd and 10. The 48. Chris Wall past midfield. The pickup is 5 yards, but no more. As Tom Reese collars him, and Chris Wall gets up a little bit slow. You have to think with a lot of these ball players, in fact, the vast majority of them going 2 ways, that there's a lot of guys playing with pain. There's Dufo up for 3 in the aerial lanes. He has the TD on that 37-yard completion. Flag is down. This is Dufo. Roll out left inside the 45. But we'll take the break for the indication. Making the stop on him again is John Pollard. Who else?
Center Point is in a must-win situation, as you see the motion penalty against the Pointers. They have got to score 2 more times if they want to win this football game. A score and a 2-point conversion isn't going to cut the mustard here, so they've got to score twice, and they've got to cut out these mistakes. Penalties are not going to help the Pointers at all.
Mike Slattery on the sideline there in consultation with Everett Williams and the motion penalty. And we'll take the walk back. Loss of down. Back into center point territory.
We've got backfield in motion on the white. Go third down.
So 3rd and 10 from the 48.
Well, Dwayne Marcellus, comfortable, but not that comfortable yet.
Dufo over the ball from the pro set formation. 3rd and 10. Comrade out of the backfield. Actually, in that pro set situation, he will split as a wide receiver as they break out of the wishbone. And he is generally on the receiving end when indeed center point decides to pass. He was covered by Mike Slattery. And now it'll be 4th and 10 from the 48. Deep to receive will be Slattery for Pocahontas. Comrade will release from about the 40-yard line. Slattery. And the flag. Looks like Pocahontas is going to draw the flag here. That would make it 4th and 5. So illegal procedure, and we go the other way by 5. Now that changes the complexion. Rather than 4th and 10 from the 48 in center point territory, it is now 4th and 5 in Pocahontas territory at the 47. We're still going to kick it. You're released from the 45. Jones, not enough for the first down. Short snap. And it didn't fool Pocahontas. Pretty good gamble this time of the game, though.
Well, you saw Ted Rogers on the sideline. Well, what have I got to lose?
Oh, what the heck?
Let's try it. There's no tomorrow anyway. Here it is again. Comrade with a nice fake. It wasn't good enough. Jones takes the pitch, or I should say the snap. And they read it. Had a long count there. I think that maybe Pocahontas was expecting something like that.
46-yard line, 1st and 10. That's Marcellus. First man through. He gets out to the 49-yard line. A pickup of 3. Wade making the stop. Brad Wade.
It was kind of unusual to see that fake punt too. Ted Rogers had told me that they have a couple of trick plays in their book, but he just does not like to use a trick play because of the adverse results sometimes, and proof of it right there.
2nd and 7. Past the midfield stripe is Dave Widener. Picked up a couple. Rob Comrade makes the stop on him. Let's take a look here, Pat Clark.
Widener fakes to the left side, and he's running all the way, tucks it under, looks for a little bit of room. Not bad pursuit by center point, but not before he gained a couple of yards on the play.
Well, it goes to the 49 to the 49. The pickup is 2, and it's 3rd and 5. There's the quarterback keeper. Widener, the quarterback. Marcellus is the point man in the wishbone, and the wings, Point and Bailey. Widener looking to throw. He loses 4. Good rush that time, center point. Dudley Grenier is the man to make the stop, and you see the quarterback, Dave Widener, say, what's the guy got to do, huh? Wayne Point will be the punter. Deep to receive. Kenny Jones. Jones at the 20. Waves with a fair catch, but just barely. His knee is down at the 21. 1st and 10, we go the other way. We remind you tonight, We're going to have the 4A title game. West High of Waterloo and East High of Sioux City. The Wahawks against the Black Raiders. And this joint is going to be hopping.
Sioux City East was a #1 rated team in 4A for a long time. They lost their last 2 regular season games of the year. But they won the Sioux Interstate Conference, thus they got an automatic berth into the playoffs. Waterloo West has been playing good football all year.
3 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter. That's Jones over right tackle, and that's the end of quarter number 3. We move to the 4th at the Unidome in Cedar Falls, Iowa. The score here, Pocahontas with the upper hand over Center Point. Pocahontas 15 and Center Point 6.
Next on WonderWorks, the Hoboken chicken emergency.
Here she is.
The greatest poultry bargain on earth. One medium-sized super chicken, 8 cents a pound.
Look, Chief, it's only a big chicken. Why can't you catch it?
Antony De Palma, chicken catcher.
Be watching Monday night at 7. A Thanksgiving Day tradition. Watch the 1984 Iowa All-State Music Festival, featuring the All-State Band, Chorus, and Orchestra. Listen to some of Iowa's finest high school musicians perform on Thursday, November 22nd at 6:30 p.m., and again on Friday, November 23rd at 2 p.m. Enjoy the 1984 Iowa All-State Music Festival.
You're watching Iowa Public Television.
12 minutes up on the board, and Pocahontas with an 8.3 3rd quarter makes this a 9-point ball game. Pocahontas 15 and Center Point 6, and a good shot of the dome here in Cedar Falls.
Well, I hate to speculate, Mike, but you know that missed 2-point conversion in the first half by Center Point could loom very big here in this football game. If they can get down and score and still get the 2 points in, they're still trailing by 1 point. That could be a big factor.
2nd and 8. Over the middle, and the interception. That will be the quarterback, Widener. And the turnover gives it to Pocahontas in superb field position.
Well, that one really hurt Mr. Dufo. There he goes on the play action, dropping back, looking for his receiver. Looks like he's got a good pattern running out there. The ball was thrown just a little bit high. Widener had a better stretch and managed to come down with the old pigskin.
Picked him clean, Dave Widener does, and now he brings his Indians out of the huddle. 1st and 10, it's the 33-yard line. And you see the sophomore, Scott Bailey, jitterbugging his way for a 5-yard gain before Rod Comrie brought him down. He brings it inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. I said a 5-yard game will make it a short 5, maybe 4.5, huh?
Tell you what, this Bailey kid's really impressed me, Mike. I don't know about you, but as just a sophomore to come in here with the stamina and determination that he has, replacing an injured player, I'd say he's doing okay.
2nd down and 5. Wayne Point battles his way inside the 25 and close to a 1st down. The clock is stopped with 10:55 remaining in the ball game to take the measurement here. Wayne Point back to the huddle. He's been the Iron Man, but as you well know, Pocahontas has other weapons in the arsenal. Namely Jeff Marcellus, namely Scott Bailey, and quarterback Dave Widener.
Widener can run, and as we saw in the first half, he scored their very first touchdown, of course, from 9 yards out on a 4th and short play.
Boy, I can't get much closer than that, can it? By that much. Yeah. So it's 3rd and inches? Yeah, by that much. Yeah.
The ref better not move the football too much, or it'll be a 1st down without them even running a play.
Line of scrimmage is the 23-yard line. Pocahontas in the lead, and with the ball here, it was 7-6 at halftime after a scoreless first quarter. Dave Widener went 8 yards to score. Jeff Marcellus converted on the point after attempt. Center point tightened it up. Greg Dupo to Kenny Jones, 37 yards. Marcellus gets the first down. See the conversation on the sideline. Pocahontas in consultation. Sean Samuelson, who is listed as the backup tight end to Jeff Owensy, along with Coach Dwayne Marcellus. First and 10, the 21. And again, we have the wishbone formation, double tight end formation. Second man through in the misdirection. This is Bailey. 16 yards is the gain for the sophomore Bailey, and knocking on the door is Pocahontas.
And I think you could give him the title of sophomore sensation. Watch little Bailey run with his football here. Or what I'm doing, calling him little. Nice cut inside. He's going to cut back outside, tries to outrun the defenders. Fortunately, Dufo was able to catch up with him, as was Comrie. But what a run.
And we've got a flag down at about the 15-yard line, and we'll wait for the indication here from Everett Williams of Sioux City. Wipes out a 16-yard gain.
We have a holding on the red. First down.
That's a back-breaking penalty at this point of the game. The ball is at the 30. It has to get to the 11 for the first down. So it is first and 19. Widener to point. Scrambles to the 21-yard line. Talk about extra effort. Brad Wade had to bring down this young man, Wayne Point. Just a junior, 5'9" and 160. Let's watch him go.
Here comes the pass completion once again. Point, a real hard-nosed little kid, hit initially by Marty Frankson. That was a nice hit. Spun off of that and managed to gain about 5 more yards. Marty Frankson, what a story there. He's just a sophomore, a small kid, and Ted Rogers says, pound for pound, he is the best football player he's ever coached.
It's second and 10. The pickup is 9 yards. Bailey. No place to go. Flag is down, and I think it's going to be a face mask.
That's all it can be. You didn't see any red shirts around him. You saw 3 white jerseys. Someone must have grabbed a hand in there on the old face mask.
So we'll go the other way a little bit on the penalty. We saw Schleswig in the first game go through the entire ball game without a penalty.
Whoa, boy, we had that one called wrong. They're going to call holding against Pocahontas again. But we're not paid to be referees, Michael.
Thank goodness. You have Williams there on the sideline with center point captain Marty Frankson. And we're going to take a long walk the other way. Now the penetration was to the 5-yard line on that 16-yard run by Bailey, and then 2 holding penalties brings it back to the 44-yard line.
We have a holding on red. Still second down.
Let's take a look and see if we can pick it up here, Pat.
Well, it's hard to see. It wasn't anywhere around the play. In fact, the flag was thrown just a skosh late. It must have been somewhere else. Couldn't have been where the ball carrier was.
Second and 33 from the pro set. Here's Widener. Wayne Point at the 35. Battles his way to the 33-yard line.
Oh, Dwayne.
Just a double slot on the left side on a crossing pattern on the right. Crossing pattern on the right. Left wing back stays in box.
So we're going to take a look at that crossing pattern to the right, and we'll see the left wing back staying on board to do some blocking, right?
Boy, you call those plays well, Michael.
I just hope that center point isn't listening in at this point, right? He could be accused of whatever. Again, we see the pro formation. Let's see what this one's all about. Wagner tucks it in. And after all of that, the pickup is 4 yards.
Well, good pursuit by Wall on that particular play. He wanted to throw. We knew what they were going to try to do. And we'll take a look at it one more time.
Again, here's making something out of nothing.
Absolutely. He wants to go downfield to his receiver. Of course, they had 21 yards to get the first down. Found that he couldn't do that. Says, well, I got to run with it. He's certainly capable of doing that. And is finally pulled down from behind. Wade gets a hand on his foot. And they're still a ways away from that first down.
It'll be 4th and 17 or 18. It has to get down to the 11-yard line for the first down. We'll see the pro set formation again. And the flag goes down. Delay of game. This drive has been frustrated for Pocahontas. This is the 3rd penalty in this drive. Remind you, they brought it down to the 5.
We've got a dead ball. Delay of game. Red.
I think probably, Michael, this is probably the least expensive of their plays. Now they're going to change just a little bit. Widener's coming off the field. Let's see what they do. They're going to try a coffin corner here.
4th and 22. Point is the kicker. Oh, yes. And for Pocahontas, John Ott downs the ball at the 7-yard line.
John would probably tell you that was a planned play.
He's got something to put in the scrapbook for this one. Sioux City East and Waterloo West. Sioux City East, #1 all season long until those season-ending losses. But, boy, they got through the playoffs, the Black Raiders. And Waterloo West. That's coming up tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Iowa Public Television. 2A and 1A championship games coming up tomorrow. It's 1st and 10 from the 7. Center point goes with Kenny Jones. Picks up a couple. And with 6:35 remaining, as they say in the business, time is of the essence, Mr. Clark.
Absolutely. For center point, Ted Rogers has got some thinking to do down there. You know, that's going to be a good 4A football game, Mike. Sioux City East, of course, and Waterloo West. Sioux City East did not have an easy go of it in the semifinals. They played Des Moines Roosevelt, of course, and what a job Mike Zelenovich has done with the Rough Riders down there. 1 year ago, 1-8. They do a flip-flop this year.
2nd and 7 from the 9. Through the hold and out to the 15-yard line. That'll be Chris Wall for the Pointers. 160-pound junior. A couple of the Indians on the sideline.
Well, they've got to be happy, too, with only about 5.5 minutes, or I beg your pardon, 5:50 left to go in the football game, leading 15-6.
3rd and a long 2. Over the ball, Greg Tupou. He calls on Jones. He gets the first down, and look at that open field running past the 25. Mike Slattery makes the stop on him. And here's another guy. You can't let him get in the secondary because he will go.
No, this is what Kenny does best. He follows his block, and once you let him into the secondary, look at the moves. He'll do that all afternoon on you. Fortunately, there was a defensive back in his way that he just couldn't get out of the way of. A good little runner, and he's going to be back next year.
1st and 10 from the 25. Wide to the left side, Comrie. We go to the pro set for center point. Chris Wall is belted to the carpet after a loss of perhaps 1.5 yards, maybe 2. Tom Reese is the first one to him.
Well, we know what happened the last time Mr. Dufo went to the air. It was Widener from Pocahontas picking him off. But center point at this point in the game, 5 minutes left, doesn't really have much of a choice. They're going to have to start throwing the thing and letting the air out of it.
4:55 remaining in the football game. Pocahontas has a 9-point lead at 15-6 over this ball club. Center point, 2nd and 11. The pointer is going to the air lane. Comes up short on the receiving end. That would have been Chris Wall. Well, I'll back up on that. It was not Chris Wall. Rick O'Brien. It was not Rick O'Brien. It was Scott Andrews. I'll get it straight.
Take a look at it again. Andrews going out on the far side. A quick sideline pattern. The ball was thrown just a bit short of him. I'm sure Ted Rogers' philosophy there is to get the short pass and get these guys to catch the ball and then perhaps make a good move on a defender and give them some territory to run on. But you'll see Dufo go long here pretty soon, too. I guarantee you. Like maybe right now.
24-yard line, 3rd and 11. Wide to the left, Comrie. Wide to the right is Andrews. Comrie downfield is going to be long. The interception, Scott Bailey at the 35, now the 40. Midfield, the 45. The 40, and he's brought down there. Scott Bailey, who makes the over-the-shoulder grab.
Scott Bailey will be the toast of the town in Pocahontas tonight. Pass intended for Comrie here. Bailey is with him step for step. It's almost like they were throwing to Bailey. Takes it to the far side, waits for his blockers. There they take Comrie out of the picture. This gives Bailey some room, and he brings it all the way back to the 40-yard line before it's finally stopped.
1st and 10, the 40-yard line. Marcellus, the first man through from the wishbone. The pickup is 7 yards. And I'll tell you this, Pat Clark, not offensively, but defensively, I stand impressed with both of these ball clubs.
Absolutely.
Center point at this juncture of the game, holding a high-scoring Pocahontas team, averaging 32 points at 15. And Pocahontas holding center point to 6, center point averaging 38 points a game. 3:20 and counting remaining. And this the 4th and final quarter, the 1A championship game. Ball will be spotted at the 30-yard line.
Well, of course, the interceptions haven't helped center point, Eddie, and it's kind of unusual and, in fact, a bit ironic. Center point coming into this game as a team had averaged themselves 2 interceptions per game. I mean, they're picking them off from the other team. They've had to taste a little of their own medicine today.
That's the time remaining, and there's the coach who's got to come up with a miracle at this point. Ted Rogers. His unbeaten pointers are looking down the barrel at a 9-point deficit. Brings him out of the huddle. Here's Wayne Point. Point to the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5. Brad Wade is the first one to him. A lot of people coming back on this Pocahontas team. Wayne Point is one of them coming back. Scott Bailey is another. Along the front line, tackle Jim Porter. And in backup positions, Tom Reese is coming back. And John Ballard, indeed, is coming back. Slattery also coming back.
Well, kind of a dismal center point sideline there. Perhaps they know defeat with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. I'm sure the center point defense and Ted Rogers were hoping that bounce on the fumble would go the other way, so maybe they could recover.
Understanding space and time is being preempted tonight, so Iowa Public Television can bring you the Class 1A high school game between Pocahontas and Center Point. Understanding space and time can be seen this Sunday morning. That'll be at 7 a.m. And right now, here in the 4th and final, it's 15-6. Pocahontas with the ball in the lead. They're taking a little air out of the ball, sustaining the drive here. It'll be 3rd and 7 when we come out of the timeout. And tonight, we're going to see the big schools going at it tooth and nail. It's going to be the 4A title game. We'll mention again that it's Waterloo West up against Sioux City East. Tomorrow, the 2A and 3A championship games right here on Iowa Public Television. And our thanks, of course, to Wally Chambers of the University of Northern Iowa coaching staff stopping by to join us. Del Miller from Hayden Fry's staff in Iowa City. He's the recruiting coordinator joining us up here.
I think maybe in a year or so they might start looking at Scotty Bailey seriously if the kid can put on a few pounds. The kid, he's just an excellent runner, and he saw him play on defense too.
2:22 remaining. It is 3rd and 7, the 27-yard line. Wayne Point runs into some traffic. He's nailed down at the 25-yard line, and I got a hunch that Pocahontas indeed will hang on to the ball at this point.
Well, we have just more than 2 minutes left in the football game, and again we remind you Center Point is down 15-6, so a touchdown and a 2-point conversion still won't get them a tie.
Center Point making its 5th trip to the playoffs in this one. 3rd trip for Pocahontas. You see the numbers in yardage. And a timeout here with 1:50 remaining. It'll be 4th down and about 5. And Dwayne Marcellus on the sideline, about to light up the Red Auerbach cigar.
Marcellus, whose kids had never been out of town, perhaps they'll want to make some trips again in the future. This has been a fairly delightful one for him.
Wayne Point gets the call on 4th and 5. He came up short of the 1st down, and so Center Point will take it over with 1:22 remaining. Rob Comrie makes the stop for the Pointers.
Well, Center Point, Mike, needs some big-time yards, and they need them right away. I don't know if miracle is the word or the operative word here, but they're almost going to have to pull one of those out of their hats if they want to win. Dufo, of course, will be going up top. Forget the running game.
The 21-yard line. Comrie splits to the left. Andrews splitting to the right. 1st and 10. That's Comrie short of the 30-yard line.
I don't know if it makes any difference, but Comrie's mistake there was not getting out of bounds. The clock continues to run. We are inside a minute now.
You see the time of possession telling the big story here. That's Andrews on the receiving end, and he's sent out of bounds at the 35-yard line and up to the 1st down and 2nd and 3. Scott Andrews brings one in. Well, when you're not a passing team and you get late in the game and you're down by a couple, you turn into a passing team, and that's what we're seeing here. Comrie again split to the left. Scott Andrews split to the right. 1st and 10, the line of scrimmage will be the 36-yard line.
Two very well-coached teams here, Mike. We can't say enough about Ted Rogers and Dwayne Marcellus. Rogers, 5 times named the Tri-Rivers Conference Coach of the Year. He knows what he's doing out there. So does Marcellus. That's obvious.
Here's Dufo. Comrie can't hang on. Might have heard some footsteps. He was well covered. Scott Bailey coming up on him. Along with for Pocahontas, Jeff Dirks. And now 2nd and 10. 41 seconds remain.
Little anticipation on the face there, Mike?
Oh, I'd say there's a little. Dufo going to the aerial lanes in heavy traffic, not this time. Putting the squeeze on him is Mike Gaffey. Tom Reeves is in there to help out. A couple of the Indians on the sideline.
Suppose they'll have a little powwow tonight, maybe?
You bet. Oh, they're on their feet in the Pocahontas half of this Unidome. lot of red and white. They're not giving up over at the center point side of the field. Although a bit more subdued. And those are the numbers with 28 seconds remaining. Pocahontas, after a scoreless first quarter, got on the board to make it 7-0. Center point came right back to make it 7-6 at the break, and then the Wayne Point 13-yard touchdown run, the two-point conversion, and that's where we are at 15-6. As the curtain comes down in this 1A championship game, Pat Clark.
Well, Scotty Bailey did a lot of the horsing around, if you will, for Pocahontas. He, of course, was replacing Dean Lee. What a game he had.
Dufo hands it up high. Kenny Jones got underneath it, but couldn't hang on. He had to take his eye off the ball just momentarily. Ted Rogers sends another play in. Dwayne Marcellus in his 15th year. And we go back to the huddle.
Oh, this will be win number 102 and probably the sweetest for Mr. Marcellus.
And timeout is called. Just to make it official, coming out the coaches to talk to their respective squads. I want to thank you for joining us here on Iowa Public Television for the 1984 Iowa High School Football Championships. 5 games coming your way. Schleswig won 13-0 over Lone Tree to claim the A championship. And Pocahontas about to nail down the 1A title. Take a look at Pocahontas. And tonight, you're going to see a lot of this, but the colors will be different. It's going to be Sioux City East, the Black Raiders, up against the Wahawks of West High Waterloo. We're right here in Cedar Falls. 8 o'clock tonight. You know this place is going to be jammed.
Well, the Black Raiders and Walt Fiegel, boy, he's been in coaching forever, it seems. And, of course, Ed Norton from Waterloo West was a coach at Hudson, led his team to a state championship.
Wayne Marcellus looked like he doesn't quite want to say that he's got the victory in hand, but indeed he does with 23 seconds remaining. Dufo, the quarterback. We're going to have a little razzle-dazzle here as we have a trio set wide to the left. He won't get the pass off. Look at that rush. Pocahontas. Everybody gets a piece of the action. Mike Gaffey leads the charge. Jeff Dirks is there to help out. And the victory celebration begins on the sideline with 18 seconds remaining, and the clock stopped. The clock winding down.
Like I said, Ed Norton. It's Ed Nelson who is the coach at Waterloo West. Rich coaching tradition here. Look at these Pocahontas fans and players. Widener played a good football game here this afternoon.
In center point. Wrap it up for the 1A championship, and there are the numbers, my friend. Pocahontas 15, center point 6. Pocahontas wraps up the 1A championship, a spotless record at 12-0. Center point completes the season. 12 victories and 1 loss. They got all the way to the title game before they were beaten.
25-1 combined record. I don't think that's anything that you could really argue about. Good football game for both teams. Unfortunately, a better one for Pocahontas. Center Point was able to get that touchdown late in the first half. We're not able to get the two-point conversion. That could have been kind of a turning point in the football game, as you see the coaches congratulating each other. Dwayne Marcellus has done a heck of a job with the Indians of Pocahontas, and the fans here, as you can see, are very proud.
Ted Rogers on the sideline. We're just about set for the presentation of the hardware. Dwayne Marcellus congratulating his Chargers, the Pocahontas Indians. You saw a gracious Ted Rogers on the sideline, and now you see Dwayne Marcellus. Oh, that's got to feel good. 15 years in the saddle up there in Pokey. And he brought Pocahontas the 1A championship, 15-6 as the final. And, oh, they're loving it here. A lot of red and white on the sidelines. Here's Mo Kelly.
Mr. Mo Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the awards in Class 1A, 4 members of the Board of Control of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. To my near left is Jack Honchell, the current chairman of the board, superintendent of schools at Centerville. Next to Jack is Dr. Ted Runyon of Britt, the superintendent of schools at Britt. Next to Dr. Runyon is Jackie Parkin of Fairfield, who represents the Iowa School Board Association on our Board of Control. And to my far left is John Gannon, superintendent of schools at Emmetsburg. I think perhaps this is an occasion when maybe we should look at more than just one season or one game. Both of these teams are making their very first appearance in a state championship game. However, over the last dozen years, since 1972 when the playoffs began, both of these schools have won approximately 80% of their football games played. The 1984 Class 1A runner-up. How about a big hand for Coach Ted Rogers and the Center Point Center.
Sideline. The happy partisans from Pocahontas, Iowa. Their Indians have just wrapped up the 1A championship with a victory over Center Point, and there's a look at what's going on the mantle.
You know, the thing that's really fun about this, Mike, is we've seen 2 football games this afternoon. 3 of the 4 teams that played were in the state championship game for the very first time.
Dwayne Marcellus with an arm load here, and well, I'll tell you, to the credit of the Center Point backers on the far side, the Pointers, a class act for head coach Ted Rogers and his Pointers. But boy, Dwayne Marcellus, after 15 years, runs up a 12-0 mark and leads Cedar Falls in the Unidome with the first place trophy and the 1A championship. We go down to the sidelines. Here's Larry Morgan with Dwayne Marcellus. Larry?
Well, Coach, 15 years in this game, and now you have a championship. It must feel awfully good.
This is 23 years in this game. 15 years of Pocahontas. We've had some tremendous ball clubs. This is the first time we got to state tournament. And I tell you what, we deserve it all these kids right here. They're the ones that want it real bad. They wanted it since their freshman year. And the first year they started out, they want to go to the Unidome. Of course, every kid's wanted, but not as much as these guys did. I think they did a hell of a job.
Now, 1A teams aren't supposed to have a lot of depth, but you had injuries. People like Bailey and Ballard come through and play very well for you.
Yeah, we had 3 sophomores out there starting that didn't start for us during the regular season due to injuries. We played Sioux Center in a tough ball game, and we had a few injuries in that game. So these kids just sucked up the reins and came in and filled in real well.
Super defense all season, super defense tonight.
Yeah, I think our defense was one of the leading defensive teams in the state of Iowa going in this ball game. So our defense deserves a lot of credit.
Your senior offensive line performed well today, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They got a lot of experience last year. They got in there last year as juniors and played, and that really helped. And they come off the ball quick, and they're very aggressive.
Especially meaningful to you, the fact that your son played on this team?
Oh, yeah, it means a lot. You know, Coach always wants to win for the players because they love them, and when you got a son there playing, it means a little bit extra.
Are there others coming up who may play football for you, or is he the one?
My daughter's a sophomore. Unless she changes, she's going to be off volleyball.
You're not going to let her go out and play football?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, congratulations, Coach, a big one.
Thank you very much.
Now let's call on Pocahontas quarterback Dave Widener. Dave, congratulations. You certainly played well, both offensively and defensively.
Thanks a lot. We came out today and we dedicated this season to our coach. He deserves it. Best coach, I think he's the best coach in the state of Iowa, 1A coach. He deserves the credit. Him and Joel Shaner, they're really good coaches, and they helped out our offensive line this year, and they played super game, and that's why we won our offensive.
Of course, you did a lot of things offensively, but I thought your interception was really a key turnaround factor. Tell us about that pass interception.
Well, I saw the guy coming out. They usually pass to the right, but I figured this time that they'd try to do something against us because, you know, that halfback pass scored, and I saw that guy looking to the right over there, the tight end, so I just stepped in front of it, and it was a lucky catch, I guess. I haven't played defense all year, and they just put me in on the last 5 games of the season, so yeah, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, you should be. Congratulations, a great effort.
Thanks a lot.
And now let's talk to the outstanding fullback and outstanding defensive player as well, Jeff Marcellus, the coach's son. I guess winning this one for Dad's especially meaningful, isn't it?
Super. I wanted it for him for so long. He deserves it. He's been coaching for a long time. I just wanted to be part of it.
Is it tough to play for your father?
No, he's coach out there, but it's just, I don't know, I think it's great playing under him. It's super.
Your quarterback, Dave, mentioned it a moment ago, but your offensive line really a key today.
Oh, they were super. They were blocking super, and our defensive line I thought was awesome. They pulled us through all year, holding teams out and keeping the score down.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
That's Jeff Marcellus, the son of Coach Dwayne Marcellus, a championship for Pocahontas. Now let's go back upstairs to Mike Newland, Pat Clark.
Well, thank you, Larry Morgan, and thank you, Dwayne Marcellus. Thank you, Dave Widener, and thank you, Jeff Marcellus. And once again, the fans from Pokey, they are #1.
Let me tell you one thing here, too, Mike. If you're asking me who I think best bets are for playoff action next year, at this point, I'm going to say perhaps Center Point, perhaps Pocahontas. Pocahontas has a couple real wheelers coming back. Wayne Point's going to be back next year. Scott Bailey, who was running all over the place, is going to be back. Kenny Jones for Center Point will be back. So I think that Coach Marcellus and Coach Rogers both have something to look forward to.
Well, once again, the final score is Pocahontas 15 and Center Point 6 as the Indians are the Class 1A champions. Don't forget, tonight at 8 p.m., Iowa Public Television Sports will have the big 4A title game between the Sioux City East Black Raiders and the undefeated and #1 ranked Waterloo West Wahawks. That's tonight at 8 p.m. Then tomorrow we'll have the Class 2A and 3A title games at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. with Emmetsburg going against Grundy Center in the 2A showdown at 11, and Harlan and Waterloo Columbus going for the 3A title at 2 o'clock. Plan to watch, won't you? And now for Pat Clark and Larry Morgan, I'm Mike Newell. See you tonight for more Iowa high school football coverage on Iowa Public Television.
for the